It's a crazy world out there, which reflects on each and every one of us. Because if it's crazy out there, it's crazy in here. As within, so without. As above, so below. There's no other way to look at that for this discussion. Yes, freaking wackadoo, man. I do spend, I guess I spend a lot more time than most looking into what's being talked about in the world. And because I live in this idyllic little corner here where if I didn't want to know, I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't read the language. I don't have a television other than this. And God knows I haven't watched CNN in many, many years, over 10 years. I think the last time I even turned it on after not watching it for many years was during Hurricane Katrina, only because we knew people down there and were keeping abreast on the situation because we were working on bringing people up to Iowa, which we did, and that all worked out really well. So, but nope, haven't had a cable television, almost 10 years now. I think 2010, 2011 in that time. Yes, I've watched it. I've been in people's homes. They've had it on, yeah, but I don't choose to. The reason I got sparked to do this right now was I was on YouTube and I saw somebody post an Ancient Aliens episode from yesterday, it looks like. We're going back to Mars, or we're going to Mars, or something like that. Let me see if I can even look at that. I don't know how that works if I bring this up. But there's some crazy shit going on, and it's it's fascinating. So I am one of those people that concurs that we are already on Mars. We have been. I'm going to say since the 40s. The Germans apparently, or that group was the first. Man on the moon? There's been man on the moon. I know there's a lot of talk about the moon landing being hoax. I firmly believe that those astronauts did go to the moon. However, because the government, the military already knew what they were going to encounter during that mission, missions, that they had Stanley Kubrick film a moon landing in a studio prior to this, and that's what they showed on to the public. Yeah, I know there's a lot of controversy about it, but who will? We will find out eventually, I'm sure. Gosh, it's got to come out. I mean, just look at the Buzz Aldrin. God, he got to go to Antarctica too, which is another fascinating subject. And then the main guy, Neil Armstrong. He don't talk to nobody, So, those things have to, spark somebody's curiosity anyway. Sparks mine. So, but anyway, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, yeah, because of the recent announcement of the Space Force launching, I believe that's why lots of these things are going to come out, because I guess I could have looked up the papers before, but anyway, somewhere back in like the 40s or 50s, there was a panel or something that was talking about disclosure of aliens and other worldly beings and other, life, other life here on this planet or within this planet, and maybe even among us. But there was a document that was, I can't remember, it's a law or something, but it states explicitly that the public, the mass public would not be able to handle the truth, so they're going to subdue it for some more time until the public gets ready. So I do see some more mainstream reports of unidentified flying objects, etc. Having grown up in Las Vegas, and not that that means, that I'm an expert, or by no means, but I've seen shit. I've had my camera taken away by the military because I took pictures of things out in the desert that apparently I wasn't supposed to see. I'd lived in Reno and would traverse between Vegas and Reno. And a lot of times, I'd be bored and I'd see things and I'd be like, let me go see. And I would take off through these little, sometimes gravel roads and see, some really interesting stuff. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I feel sorry, really, for anybody that believes that mankind is the only life, the only life in this vast universe are people and monkeys and whales and giraffes and whatever you see here. Which I'm going to go out on a limb and say some of those are from other places as well and have evolved here in their own little way. Yeah, we're under massive spells, bunches of them. And the magicians are the leaders. Not necessarily President Trump and Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. And no, not those. And they're part of it too, but there are levels higher up than them telling them what to do. And I'm going to go out on an even shorter limb and say some of those influencers of the leaders are not people like us. Okay? Yeah, I know. Sounds kind of crazy. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm a total fucking nutball and totally off my rocker. But I don't think so. Not in an egoistic sense or anything like that. A religion or scientismic, any one of those types of influences. I'm not easily influenced. I used to say I was a touch it, taste it, feel it kind of gal, but about 10, 12 years ago, I learned about meditation, and I also learned, that a cult, they're always saying, "Ooh, a cult bad." No, a cult means nothing more than hidden. So when I got this inclination from somebody that said something to the effect of that we are being ruled by black magic, that sparked my curiosity into studying ritual magic. We're all magicians. Some of us know it, some of us don't. We do create our experiences. We do create our own reality by what we think, say, and do. So that's just a premise. But lighting a candle and saying a prayer, I equate all of that to magic. And magic is simply a manipulation of the electromagnetic field in which we all exist. So these rulers, of course, they are very well aware of all of the natural laws that are governing us, whether you believe it or not. The laws made up by man are man-made, and those are tyrannous. Imagine being born into a religion that you cannot opt out of. Imagine that. Like right now, if you were Catholic, I know a lot of Catholics that have converted to other things, including paganism. They can do it. You can do it. Not a big deal. But the one religion that you cannot opt out of is government. The Latin definition of government is govern the mind. I have anybody that knows me, I do not respect authority. I do if they earn it, but I do not just inherently because you say you're the police. I don't fucking respect you. I have cussed out multiple authority figures, including the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, and the ATF. Yep, because I knew my rights, and they thought they could walk all over me, and they didn't. They couldn't, because they don't have authority over me. They don't have authority over you, especially if you know your rights. If you know what you're talking about. But going back to all this space stuff, this all ties into it. I mean, then nobody talks about it because fucking people think it's whack, but it's not. It's the premise of all this. Ancient Aliens, I think, is a great thing for bringing, seeding some of this information into John Q. Public, who can't handle the truth. Well, it's not that the people can't handle the truth. Not from my experience. I feel it has more to do with, if this information was brought forth, it would crumble all religions to the ground, to nothingness, because their premise is that God created us, which there's a part of that I feel is totally accurate, but not in the sense that the religious institutions are presenting to their followers, and it's not. Sometimes I get really shitty. I've sapped out some comments without engaging that filter, which is pretty much clogged all the time, but I'm learning to use it much more. But there's fucking, I'll tell you, this is bottom line. If there are real religious people that actually held true to the doctrine of their canons in their different religions. By the way, there are over 36,000 different Christian religions. 36,000. Some of them get along, but the other ones think they're the bomb, and okay. But if there were really religious people, I think in most Abrahamic religions, that would be Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. The main canon is love thy neighbor, love your friend, do unto others. Who's doing that? And I'm sure in small pockets, yes, I'm not sure, I know that in small pockets that this is going on. But if we were really living by our core beliefs, by what drives us, and for many that's their religion, which is great, because although I do have a probably not a popular opinion for religion, I do see the benefits, and I do see many people that kind of think outside of the box of the norm and expand. They see the bigger picture, so to speak, of the biblical stories, and so to speak, which is great. The whole premise, the whole idea that all these crazy things are going on in government. I mean, I get so worked up over this. I'm learning how to not. But it's just this whole premise of the Space Force and people not being able to handle the truth. It just really kind of makes me wonder why people are still like rah government. Oh, vote 2020. Are you bleeping kidding me? The very idea that people are already holding up banners for these knuckleheads is beyond my comprehension. Like, there's a part of me that just thinks, oh, what a bunch of blithering fucking idiots, Kill yourself now. Do us all a fucking favor, But, in all of my studies, especially, Kabbalah, Hermetics, there's nobody else here but me and God, me and the Creator, me and the Force. And everything belongs. And going back to The Secret, which was cool. It was a good step, but it was, a little misleading, because I think a lot of people actually thought, oh, I wish I had a new car. Oh, I'm going to make pictures of a new car. New car, new car, new car. There's no new car, because it takes a lot more than that. This is a very intricate system, and this one idea, this idea that we need to rely on others to tell us how to act is ludicrous to me. I don't need anybody freaking telling me not to kill people. Unless you're hurting me or my friggin' family, we'll be friends. We don't even have to be friends, but I'm not going to kill you just because, you're ugly and your breath smells or whatever, And, this skips right into this belief in government, this whole religion of government, because holy crap, really? Really? Have any of you paid attention to what this government is doing? And I'm not talking, fucking Trump is nothing. Look at the shit they're doing even at the state and local levels. It is unfathomable, the amount of corruption in the so-called judicial system. Yeah, judicial system. Jeffrey Epstein apparently committed suicide. He was like the most prominent inmate in the country that I'm aware of, and they let him die? Give me a break. Just give me a break. Anybody that is falling for this, bye. You won't be able to handle the rest of what I have to say, because this is just ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Even Epstein is associated with this space stuff. The whole human trafficking, sex slave aspect is initiated from other worlds, I believe. I believe there are entities out there, beings out there that thrive on the emotional aspect of torturing people, etc., etc. I watched something a few weeks ago talking about torturing people. The Funan Gong followers in China, they were locked up, many of them, most of them, a lot of them. These people are really healthy, strong. These people are being held captive in China, and they harvest organs from these individuals. And apparently, because of something about the viability of the organs, many times these people are still alive when these organs are harvested. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. All you have to do is go look into China for organ transplants and how fast they are and how much cheaper they are. So people know this. But just saying, that's just one little tiny aspect of the really effed upness about this planet, Global warming, what a fucking joke. Any idiot, and I'm sorry, I don't mean any disrespect, but if you are believing that your fucking SUV and your fucking amount of your breathing is causing global warming, then you're a fucking retarded minion. Sorry. No, I'm not even sorry. That's how I feel about it. You are relying on lies. Your whole premise is based on lies. So how can you perceive anything else? And unless you get off your fucking lazy ass and do some real research, don't use Google. Don't use Google. And actually, I can't even adhere to that DuckDuckGo or Bing or any better, because I'm not in the U.S., but here where I am in Central America, I don't see a big difference. So, as a matter of fact, DuckDuckGo is very limited. As a matter, especially when you're looking for images or specific things, I don't see much. So anyway, just I was blessed to be looking into these things years and years ago. I used to use libraries, and also in the beginning of the internet, there's, and again, maybe it's because I'm not here, but I also know that several of my bookmarks that were from European medical journals, etc., they're not even available anymore. I can't even get to them. It's like file not available on my bookmarks page. So same thing in freaking YouTube anymore. In my watch later stuff, I'll go there, deleted video, video deleted, video deleted, video deleted. Sometimes I go to the page and I see that person has been taken offline. That all of this censorship should raise some eyebrows. And if you're one of those idiots going, yeah, good, people shouldn't be telling us how bad vaccines are. Vaccines are good. Just for an example, go get the hell out of here, because unless you're willing to open your mind and look for the facts. And where I got my facts all these years ago was from the a vast amount of it was from the European medical journals. Some stuff out of Russia too. I don't think they do that in Russia. But anyway, just bullshit. We're fed so much bullshit. Unless you open your mind and open your critical thinking capacity, you're not going to see it. You're sitting there watching CNN, MSNBC. I watched a few things the last few days just to get an idea of what you're dealing with. I don't know. My bullshit meter's been on since I was pretty much born, so I can't. Anytime anybody tells me something, I'm going to question it. Again, I've always questioned authority. I've never taken anything at face value. Again, I used to be a touch it, feel it, taste it kind of gal, but again, with meditation and altered states of consciousness, I understand that, again, I really understand as within, as without, as above, so below. There is, everything's connected, and so are these aliens, and so is the fact that Space Force is announced by the military and the government and Pence and all the, and then Ancient Alien puts, return to Mars. I'm just fascinated, absolutely fascinated. So, God, the other, in the space thing too.
To Mars as Ares, the god of war.
What's
the god?
This constant constant barrage of fear. That's the other thing I saw in the news, when the mainstream stuff that I'm seeing. Lots of fear stuff. I guess all these shooters. Come on. What was it about, this shit going on in New Zealand? If you guys don't think that has something to do with the United States, you'll figure it out soon enough. But pay attention to that. They're limited. They're just kind of like China, not as bad as China, but they can't get certain things on their internet. I think that went over into Australia too. A few months ago, they revoked the travel visa for David Icke to go speak in Australia, I think in 6 different cities. And the day that he was boarding a plane to go to Australia, he got an email saying, don't come, we revoked your visa. And this had to do with, that he's anti-Semitic. Give me a fucking break. These organizations, these pro-Israel, and I'm not saying pro-Jewish, he's pro-Israel, because Israel is not what we're told. It's not even a country, it's a state of Israel, which, was confiscated by the Rothschilds from Palestine, it's a whole nother clusterfuck, and we'll have to go into that another day, because it's not what it seems. It's not at all what it seems. That part of the world is synonymous for aliens. Why do you think they've had a conflict in the Middle East forever? Certain species, certain beings cannot enter into this frequency so easily, but that part of the world has maybe some stargates or some frequency aspects that can be manipulated so that they can come. They cannot stay for long. But I think that's why there's always this turmoil in the Middle East, God, I could go on for a long time about the Middle East, because that is just a fascinating place on the planet. look at Northern Africa and um, Western Europe or Indo-Europe or whatever, Indo-Asia, Eurasia, whatever. It was probably blown up that because they say the Sphinx was in water. It has water damage, and the last time there was supposedly water there was like 10 or 12,000 years ago, and that would, that kind of lines up with a lot of the archaeologists that are saying that there was a massive cataclysm 11,800 to 12,000 years ago. So yeah, this is So what to do about it? And maybe I am a little apologetic for being so harsh about certain groups of people, but if the shoe fits, don't take it too bad. Just take a look at what's going on in your life to why you allow these things to rule you the way you do. Government slavery, plain and simple. This whole, returning to Mars, or going to Mars. I'm going to go on a really, really short limb and say there are civilizations of human beings. There are children that have been born there. I'm going to say probably at least 3 generations of children that have been born on Mars. In the moon. The moon is not what we think it is either. It's a craft. It was brought here. Blah, blah, blah. But again, you'd have to get off the couch, get onto the computer, go to the library, go look for the information because it's out there. Do I want to sit here and share all that? Maybe. I don't edit or do any of those things, so I guess I could do a live thing and get a little whiteboard and show you things or give you different websites or different books that talk about this. I'm reading The End of All Evil right now by Locke, Justin Locke. Anyway, yeah, totally freaking like, once you understand what is ruling you, you can make the necessary adjustments in your thinking, your actions, your perceptions, because once you change the way you look at the world around you changes, and I can wholeheartedly attest to that. I have been on this incredible journey for many, many, many years. Traveling is one of the best things, I believe, that has the potential to expand your horizons, because all these different, traveling, not touring. Tourism's great. They show you what they want to show you, and then you go. Okay, great. Buy a magnet, buy whatever. But when you're a traveler, you don't typically hang out in the touristy places. At least for me, and many, many, many other people that I have met, you are exposed to things that sometimes it takes a minute to swallow, because there's just so much in our at least in the Americans and Canadians where I went to school. Those indoctrination centers gave us a snippet, and it's a snippet that isn't even true. That's the sad thing about it. But anyway, so we're going to go to Mars, because we forgot how to get to the moon. We lost all that information. You ever see that astronaut? Yeah, the reason why we're not going to the moon anymore is because we lost all that data that told us how to do that. Are you goddamn kidding me? Holy crap. No, he didn't say that in front of God and everybody. And then, I don't know. But I do. I feel bad for people that have such a limited perception of who they are and where we are, that they think that humanity is the only intelligent life. And I'm going to also add, just as a closing note here, that this humanity, this society in which we reside at this current moment, is far less intelligent than the societies that were maybe not even 200 years ago. Yeah. So, anyway, peace, love, and harmony, y'all.